Let's freaking go! National Signing Day Eve. So we always start our live streams at 8:05 p.m. Central Time. Decided to go at 7:35 tonight because I know some of you want to just focus in on a big basketball game tonight. So once again, we're going to go longer than just this time. We'll bleed into the basketball game. You can do whatever you want to do. Once again, though, this is a big night, right? We're all on pins and needles. Okay. We say hi to Jared. We say hi to the Master Blaster. We say hi to the old vet. We say hi to Lucky Logan. Mark Grayson says, are we going to get Harold Carter? Why the peach over your face? Well, the reason why is that we have a growing number of people watching in North Louisiana, right? A lot of you are like, peach emoji booty. What are you talking about? I just want people to know that North Louisiana exists, right? I always hear these crappy jokes about Shreveport. I always hear these crappy jokes about Monroe. I hear these crappy jokes about Ruston. If it wasn't for North Louisiana, LSU would not be the program it is now. So I wanted to show some love to all our Peach City viewers. So this is basically it, right? This is pretty much everything you need to know for tomorrow. Okay. So let me go ahead and turn this off right here. These are your announcement times for tomorrow in a super fancy graphic, as you can see. Danny Lewis, the tight end out of Westgate at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Trevonte Citizen at 11 a.m. Central Time. Harold Perkins at 1:15. Caleb Douglas, the wide receiver, at 1:20. And one of the biggest ones, JACOBY MATHEWS at 7 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. So, you know, it's going to slowly trickle out. Hopefully LSU does pretty well. And the poll question is pretty interesting, right? How many players does LSU get? And a majority of you have said 5 of the 6. So if you are someone that answered 5 of the 6, what's up, LJ? P-Sax. Let's go. Welcome to the channel. Good to see you, man. Exactly, Jonathan. We need to show some love to North Louisiana a little bit more. You know, it's interesting. Perkins changed to 3:30. Yes, he did. So I might as well fix that. I did see that, right? Once again, it wouldn't be a Harold Perkins announcement if there wasn't a switch. So Perkins did change to 3:30. I did see that beforehand. So I was looking at all the times to make sure I had it all right. And I was like, wait, I do have it right. But then once again, Harold Perkins decided to move on. What's up, Brett? What's up, Michael B? It's okay, my friend. I know a lot of you are going to be trickling in at 8:05. Once again, I know some of you just want to focus in on the basketball game. That's the only reason I started early. So for the people that do jump in at 8, I'm just going to basically, you know, this is a big story. Obviously, there are other big stories, more so in the NFL than in the college game. Obviously, the bombshell Brian Flores story, the Tom Brady story, the Joe Burrow is the greatest of all time story that people are just now starting to realize. Ahmad, good to see ya. You are here waiting for Genesis. I know. Brian, what's good, man? Mick, good to see you. Danny is in the building. What's up, Grayson? Obviously, the Caleb Williams transfer was huge. Kenneth, yes, we need to show more love to North Louisiana. I get so sick and tired of when people just crap on North Louisiana for no reason, when some of the best restaurants in Louisiana are in North Louisiana, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that go from South Louisiana and open up restaurants in North Louisiana. There are some unbelievable restaurants in Ruston in particular. Monroe as well. Shout out to the Warehouse. I've had it before. So I'm really excited. Let's see what happens here. Jared says no one cares about basketball. When you are the biggest LSU basketball fan in here, sarcasm is aplenty. What's up, Rob? Yeah, Mark, that is such an interesting story, right? The Jim Harbaugh story. I actually think that is good for Michigan long term. He coached such a poor game against Georgia. I understand Georgia was a better team and they were going to beat them regardless. That should have been more competitive. They looked clueless. They looked so overmatched in that game. And they shouldn't have been. That should have been a two-possession game, but there's no reason for you to get blown off the field, right? Uh, LJ says, I crap on North Louisiana because I lose my money in Bossier City. Well, there you go, LJ. Don't go to Bossier City because I need your super chats. Genesis and Reed. Genesis isn't coming back, Ahmad. Well, she might be. She might be in here at 8. Let's see. What's up, Danny? There are a couple good restaurants up north. Let's not get crazy now. I was born and raised in South Louisiana. I lived 10 years in North Louisiana. Man, I'll throw down on some North Louisiana restaurants, right? I need to get some of my Monroe people in here, right? Obviously, Bovines. Whew, I know the owner pretty well. He's a friend of mine, and man, that's one of the best steakhouses in the country, right? And it's crazy because it's also like a college bar, but it's like an actually really steak. So, let's see. North Louisiana from Burt Jones to Jacob Hester. I love it. Yeah, shout out North Louisiana. Caucus, good to see you. I was born and raised in Shreveport. I like it. I love Shreveport. I really do. There you are, Reed. Good to see you. Reed, you ever get out of the house and touch some grass? I have to get boudin shipped to me. So I guess boudin is a mix of boudin and poutine from Canada. So that would be a pretty deadly mix. Jared says, I've always considered Hammond, North Louisiana. Hammond? Are you kidding me? Hammond? I was born in New Iberia, but moved to Dallas, Texas at 2 years old. Totally get it. You're a Monroe guy? I love it, Mark. I really do. Also, printing some shirts. Getting them out there. I got another order of shirts. We still have plenty of shirts left in a few sizes. We are getting some more 2X. Shipped out my last 2X. We're also getting some 3X, and we're also getting some 4X done. So Devin White is a mythology. North Webster. You know, it's crazy. I went by that high school and it was like, wow, this is so small town Louisiana. This is a good question here from Brad. Do we go after any Michigan high school recruits now? So obviously, you know, the big Michigan recruit is a Dante Moore. That's more class of 2023. So as far as like Michigan high school talent for 2022, I don't know a whole lot. Obviously, you know, LSU picked up Garrett Dellinger last year, but yeah, it's a good question, Brett. Good to see you. Robert Parrish is from Shreveport. There we go. John, y'all come and drink. Well, just let me know, Jonathan. I'll make it. I'll make an appearance. Hammond is definitely not North Louisiana. I know you're kidding. There's nothing wrong with being North Louisiana. That's the thing, Leonard. I'm trying to, you know, Louisiana in and of itself is so. I just love North Louisiana. I really do. I know it's not a popular opinion. I know we're supposed to call North Louisianians Yankee. So yeah, I don't know why this is doing this. But still. Mo Hippa is taking over Danny's role as the offensive lineman portal watcher. Danny, watch out. Mo Hippa, Mo Funky is coming for your business. Derek C., what do the shirts look like? So the shirts are basically just this logo right here. I'm actually wearing one of our older shirts tonight, but it's the new logo, and it's got boom on the back of it. And the cool thing about the shirts is I mail you a bunch of legendary LSU cards, and you do get an LSU sticker in your order. So there you go. Danny said I actually went up north and met some real Yankees. There you go. I love it. Danny is the center queen. Let's see here. SG, it's good to see you. I hadn't seen you in a minute. Let's see. So that's a good question. I do feel it is important at the beginning of the stream, not only to talk about the announcement times, but more so talk about what the new rules are. Okay. So obviously a lot of the high school players have these next couple of days to actually sign and go play for a university. So the first thing you have to understand about the transfer portal is players can commit and sign whenever they want. Also, at the same time, players can go into the transfer portal without letting their coaches know. So the truth here is and once again, Jared, thank you for your super chat, our first super chat of the night. And if you want to know what the t-shirts look like, Jared is actually wearing one of our new PHL shirts. But this is very important, right? There's Robert. There's King Robert. We can't have a live stream without King Robert. So the number one thing, Leonard, shoot me an email. I'll take care of it. You must understand that a transfer is in a lot of ways a more valuable commodity immediately. So this would be my thing going into tomorrow. I would actually prefer LSU to not get all 6 players that they are going after tomorrow. I would prefer they get 4 of 6. Now, there are a certain 4 that I would prefer, but I do think it's important to leave as many transfer spots open. And here's something that's very critical to keep in mind. Thank you so much, Kedrick, for another dinner's Cash App. I deeply appreciate you so freaking much, Kedrick. Thank you. I'm looking at you in the face right now, Kedrick. You. Thank you. This is very important. You can sign as many transfers as you want. In fact, LSU could have signed 32 transfer portal players in theory. Now, of course, you would never do that. You would sign some high school prospects. But let's just say LSU doesn't land any of the players. Well, that means that they can still sign 7 more transfers. So where LSU is right now, Watchmen, is LSU has 7 slots that they can use. They can go anywhere they want with them. And we'll see. We'll see what they actually decide to do with them. Now, if all 6 of the players that you see in the poll question right now actually end up going, that means LSU would only have 1 final slot to use in the transfer portal. And it is interesting that LSU really late in the process has offered these 2 3-stars that are really good football players. But, once again, we don't know a whole lot about them. King Robert, thank you so much. Robert says, I may enter the portal. Well, Robert, we don't need you becoming an LSU fan. Thank you so much, King Robert, as always, for your support and more importantly, your friendship. Kamar Wheaton in the portal, number 3 running back in his class. So let's talk about Kamar Wheaton a little bit, right? So this is something that's very key when it comes to being a 5-star recruit is, and this goes back to what Tyrann Matthews said about the transfer portal, is that it's not necessarily the best thing in the world. Okay. You're not some amazing human being that says, well, the players should have, the opportunity to move like the coaches. No one disagrees with you with that point. But I do agree it's somewhere in the middle. What Tyrann Matthews said had some truth to it, that players pack their bags and go. And the players that we've seen pack their bags quickly are 5-star out of state players. And the reason why they do it is, number one, they know that they're going to have a long list of suitors wherever they go. And number two is, a lot of the 5-stars go to schools where you have to be patient before you actually can play. And Kamar Wheaton is definitely one of those guys, right? You go to Alabama and Jahmyr Gibbs right now is just a better player than you. Emmanuel Henderson's coming in. They still have other running backs on the roster. Jace McClellan, whoever, Trey Sanders. It's hard to play at Alabama. It's hard to play at any school. So, Rob, this could be something else you kicks the tires on. I don't think that they get another transfer running back, though, simply because I do think Trevonte Citizen will sign tomorrow. How about a first-time super chatter? BH Clanton 3, thank you so much for the super sticker. BH Clanton 3, thank you so much. Everyone, welcome BH Clanton 3 to the channel. I think I may or may not have seen you in here before, but I really do appreciate your generosity. It goes a long way. I'm going to LA next week for Super Week. So I really, these obviously help out. Getting to do some cool PHL stuff out there. I'm really excited. I tend to be conservative. I think we should hold on to some of those spots until after the spring. If we don't get any tomorrow, I do agree with you, Danny. That's why I don't want LSU to sign all 6. I just don't think that's the absolute best course of action. And I don't think all 6 of them will sign. Now, some of those players do play more position of need, such as Danny Lewis plays a huge position of need for LSU next season. Is he physically ready to play in the SEC next year? We shall see. Tony, a member of the Booger Band Club, a member of the T-shirt club, both T-shirt clubs, and a member of the Jeremy Hill Autograph Club. Really cool stuff. I really do appreciate you, Tony. You get to pick the next topic. BH Clanton 3. Thank you so much. Yeah, Mark, you should definitely avoid doing that right now. And I'm glad you brought that up because I did start my LSU Sports Cards Instagram page. I have my Joe Burrow, my biggest Joe Burrow card I've ever had in my life. I posted it today at LSU Sports Cards is where you can find it on Instagram. And I was sad to see it go. But Joe Burrow has the most expensive cards of all the modern football players right now, not named Patrick Mahomes. And that's really crazy to really think about. A lot of Joe Burrow's not so rare stuff sold for more than some of Michael Jordan's rare stuff, which shows you that Joe Burrow is really hot right now and the prices are really, really, really insane. So, Watchman, I do agree with you. And once again, welcome to the channel. What's up, Cliff? Been away for a while. Last contribution was before your mouth surgery. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys got to see me high as a kite after the dental surgery in our Lincoln Riley deep dive. I remember that video. And BH Clayton, thank you so much. It really goes a long way. And it's good to have you back. Man, I really do appreciate you. I really, really do. And as always, Jared and Robert, you guys, are two of our biggest contributors. And I can't say enough good things about Rob because obviously, he's got my favorite Craig Stelz card that I gave him a Craig Stelz auto. I'm kind of sad by that. Press. Mark, the Instagram page is at LSU Sports Cards. I freaking, man, I was so sad to see that Joe Burrow go. I still have plenty, though, to give out. So if you get a t-shirt and you want a Joe Burrow card, I send you a Joe Burrow card, and they're pretty cool. If you want a Tyrann Mathieu card, you might get both if you're lucky. And Cliff's shirt is in the mail. He got a really cool Brandon LaFell card. I got everybody. So it's really cool stuff. Back. Yeah, Prez, you got a pretty good insight on not so much recruiting, but just everything. I know Ahmad is in here. I know you got a lot of I know you got a lot of recruiting contacts. I'll say this. I feel good about Trevonte Citizen. I feel really good about JACOBY MATHEWS. Those two guys I feel the best about. Once again, I'm not a special recruiting insider. I'm just not. Van is in the house. What's up, Van? So this is really cool. I love getting to meet you guys, and it's very rare, obviously, with the Rona that, I get to do this. I am getting to meet Van, who not only has been a guest on this channel, he's also been a big supporter. I'm really excited about that. Jesse's got the PHL sticker as his backdrop. And by the way, for those that don't know, Van is also a soon-to-be member of the T-shirt club and also the Booger Band Club. So that's the cool thing. When you support the channel, get shirts, get all that cool stuff. Mark is also a member of all those things. LJ is also a member. So I'm really excited about that. Danny is also a soon-to-be member. So it's cool. So this is what I'll say about Harold Perkins, obviously tomorrow. First thing, ignore my graphic earlier. It is true that he, once again, there is another twist and turn with the Harold Perkins recruiting saga. His commitment was set for 1:15 tomorrow. It has been moved back to 3:30 Central. Now, I will say this, okay? I don't think this was him. I think this was CBS saying, look, you're doing the announcement with us. We prefer you to do it later in the day. We don't know the truth about that, but we'll see. I still think Harold Perkins is my number one guy in 2022. Now, Van, I actually want you to call me later because I want to, vent about this to you personally because you and I talk about this all the time. Cliff and I talk about this all the time personally as well. Okay. This pisses me off. Okay. If you really want me to rant for a second before I get back into Harold Perkins. So Harold Perkins was the number 4 ranked prospect nationally. Okay. Nationally. Now, this is what drove me crazy. And I promise you, Van, I'll get back in because, Van, I was actually going to call you later about this. I want you guys to see this. All right. And believe it or not, I didn't see this last night, but Blake at Are You Serious? Me and him talk all the time. So I was on the phone with him and I went on a cursing tirade when I saw this. Okay. Now, I want everyone to, once again, hold your horses because you're probably going to be just as mad as I am when I first saw this. Okay. So look at this. Okay. There has been no football that's been played, just an all-star game. Okay. Just one all-star game. All right. How does one all-star game take Aaron Anderson, who was the 150th ranked prospect 5 months ago, all the way up to the number 1 prospect in Louisiana and the only 5-star in the state of Louisiana, according to the 247 composite. And on top of that, It's the Bama privilege, okay? It is the Bama privilege once again. I'm so sick and tired of this in the recruiting rankings, okay? They did the same thing with Chaz Preston, who was around like in the 90s. He jumps up to number 50. Now, I understand it's a 247 composite. It's not just 247. This is ESPN's rankings. This is Rivals rankings. What is this? How do the players that are going to LSU all magically not become 5 stars anymore? But the one guy who was outside the top 10 players in his own state jump up to the only 5-star in the state. That doesn't make rational sense. There has not been that much that has changed in the past few months. So, man, if you don't have time to talk later, that's when I wanted to vent. I had to vent about that to someone personally. I might go on a cursing tirade because that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make rational sense. And I love recruiting rankings. For the most part, they're accurate, but that doesn't make sense. I understand Walker Howard got hurt his ranking, okay? But has Will Campbell just sucked? Has there been something that's happened? Did JACOBY MATHEWS forget to play football? What has happened? What has happened? It's the A. Van, I need your thoughts on this. Please. I hate this. I hate this. Let's go to Danny's super chat. I know Perkins is your guy, but can you at least admit that he's come off as being me-focused and not a team player? Will he Elias Durant us? So I'll say this, Danny, okay? And it's going to sound like I'm defending Harold Perkins, but I am going to defend him here, all right? Sometimes with certain recruits, they're getting pulled in so many different directions. And this is really a rare case where Harold Perkins is stuck between a rock and a hard place, okay? This is a guy who is in Houston, which has been an area that has been dominated by Texas A&M. And just the state of Texas has mostly been dominated by Texas A&M, Texas, and Alabama these last couple of seasons, okay? So Harold Perkins, he was going to Texas A&M, but he is from New Orleans, and a lot of his family lives in Louisiana. So, number one, yes, the interviews, the school pictures thing didn't come off the best. But at the same time, there are some behind-the-scenes things where he is really getting pulled in so many different directions, and there's so many different people that are in his ear telling him where he wants to play. At least tomorrow he gets to decide where he wants to go, and hopefully it's where he wants to go, right? We don't want kids coming to LSU that don't want to be at LSU. So I'm going to defend Harold Perkins because I have heard behind the scenes there it's not all him, right? Not everyone has everyone in one accord where they want to go, right? There's a lot of famous examples of this. Obviously, Landon Collins is one of those. Alex Collins with the Arkansas-Miami thing. We've seen this before, right? Sometimes it's not where the kid wants to go. It's where the mom wants you to go. It's where the dad wants you to go. It's where the uncle wants you to go. It's where whoever wants you to go. So, it's tough. It's tough. So, I'm a big Harold Perkins guy. Once again, you live with any extra baggage that you might think of because he's special. Now, it's going to take him a little while because, physically, he's not the most imposing guy. He's not a Will Anderson specimen when it comes to his body type, but he is a special athlete with high-end athleticism, with some Tyrann Mathieu type of playmaking ability and ball skills to his game. And hopefully he goes to LSU, right? We need those hybrid playmaker types to take our defense to the next level. So, Van wants to talk a little bit more about Perkins. I'm all about it. Thank you for the super chat. Expect Perkins and Matthews to go together wherever they sign or expect LSU. That's interesting, right? So it's Perkins and Matthews have the same top three, right? Florida, LSU, and A&M. So you could end up seeing a package deal happen tomorrow, especially considering they're both committing later in the day. La Rugaroo, good to see you. Let's see. Pegasus, good to see you as well. I don't want to miss anybody here. I'm sick, but watching your live streams make me feel so much better. Memphis, you have been a very valued member of the PHL community. It's good to see you. Katie Joe, where have you been? You were the one that had the great super chat about that Ohio State coach. What's up, Carter? How are we feeling about tomorrow, guys? I am feeling great about tomorrow, Katie. Good to see you again. I see Mick's already shooting a shot. You go right on ahead, Mick. ESPN is trash. You have no independent player evaluators who actually go to the games and camps. They really analyze other people's work. Once again, I don't know too much about their recruiting services. I don't know enough about how they go about project evaluations. And part of it, LJ, is I kind of want I keep up with 247. I read Shea every morning. I keep up with Spiegelman and all those guys, right? I'm mostly focused on their writing. I'm telling you, yesterday when I was on the phone with Blake, I started cursing up a storm, right? I was so freaking mad when I saw the Aaron Anderson thing. And it's nothing against Aaron Anderson. It just, and you guys know I'm not conspiracy guy. It's not, that's not me. But there's no way you can explain that. That doesn't make any sense. Guys that are 5-star players in Louisiana that aren't going to Bama magically don't become 5-star players, but the one guy who is the 150th nationally ranked player jumps all the way up to a 5-star ranking. That what is that? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Kyle said Perkins trending hard to LSU. Let's go. Feeling good. Tracy and Tommy, good to see you. I'm seriously considering an NIL offer from Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and transferring. LSU is showing me love. UAPB, baby. Let's go. Ed, where have you been? Yeah, a lot of his family, came to the visit. It was a great visit. Feeling great. Minnesota Steve. I love that name. Welcome to the channel, Minnesota Steve. How are they feeling about Jim Harbaugh? How is Justin Jefferson and Patrick Peterson feeling about Jim Harbaugh? QBs win championships. Howard is a guy in 2 years. This year's recruits will be on board because of this. Go Tigers. There we go. Ooh, LJ and Brady Quinn going at it. Yeah, you get, I mean, look, a lot of Notre Dame people aren't going to think fondly of Brian Kelly, right? But they should be happy. You know, they kept every other coach for the most part. So we'll see. Big Al, good to see you. Once again, it is easier for me to see your question if you number one, super chat, but number two, change your avatar from a letter, right? Look at Ahmad in uniform. I love it. Simper said, Carter, you need to come eat some crawfish. The exact opposite of this should be true, Pegasus. But what about Bama's results? Shouldn't that correlate with the rankings of the recruits they consistently compete so it makes sense? No, that's not how this works, right? They are ranking the recruit, not how they fit with a certain school, how you view the recruit in and of himself, right? Because look, there are some recruits that I would rank higher based on what system they play in, right? But that's not the recruiting service's job. Your job is just to rate the prospect, right? And yes, it does matter where you go, but that should influence every recruit's ranking. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It should just be the evaluation of the player. Okay. You're a Bengal fan now? There you go, Minnesota Steve. What about Whitworth, Odell, and everybody? Foggy Bottom BBQ. Okay, so Foggy Bottom, I'm guessing you are a BBQ company. Um, so why is your letter? Why do you have an avatar for your letter? Why isn't your avatar? And thank you for the super chat, by the way. There is nothing prettier on this earth. Like nothing prettier. A Joe Burrow ball to Jamar Chase, not as pretty as a good fresh brisket, baby. Tyra Banks, not as pretty as a perfectly moist brisket. Nothing is pretty. So Foggy Bottom, what I want you to do is change your avatar to a lovely brisket. Okay. Okay, can you do that for me? Well, you gave me a super chat, so you don't have to do anything. But I want to see your brisket, baby. Foggy Bottom Barbecue sounds like a good barbecue joint. Do you do sides? Do you do burn-ins? What about ribs? Let's go. Been a cuff. Derek, Power Hour LSU on Instagram, Twitter at Carter the Power, Power Hour LSU at gmail.com as well. Let's go. Been a tough couple of years, but ready for the Tigers to get back to the top. BK and the team are going to bring it home with 4 of the 6, led by Perkins and Matthews. So Foggy Bottom, who are the other two? I'm curious. Oh, gee, you're trying to tell me to hush my mouth about barbecue? Really? What kind of society are we in? What kind of society are we in where we can't talk about barbecue? We can't talk about barbecue? Something that makes every single on the person on the planet gets excited about some burn-ins, baby. You know what's funny? I've never done the big beef ribs from a barbecue joint. Number one, because it's like $50 to get one beef rib, and I'm kind of a pork rib guy. But has anyone ever done the beef ribs? I've never done the beef ribs. But yeah, I hope you're right about Perkins and Matthews. I would like 5 of the 6. I don't want all 6. I would really like LSU to have at least 2 transfer portal slots going into this offseason. But we'll see. Danny Lewis and Citizen. Foggy Bottom Barbecue. Fresh daily. Me and Haley's dad's like a barbecue pit master. I think he's won a few contests. I'm gonna take him there. He just had a surgery. I'm gonna take him there. Go get some good BBQ, man. I just think Foggy Bottom Barbecue just sounds great. I'm giving you a good little advertising. You see what happens if you have a business and you super chat $20? What's better than like a semi-chunky but also semi-handsome human being like myself advertising your product? Because if you're just a little chunky, I'm a lot chunky right now, let's be honest. My face has gotten a little fuller over the past year. I blame Oreos in a pandemic, but you guys have made it better. Now, I'm the perfect spokesman for any restaurants out there because I'm actually kind of cute, but at the same time, I'm also chubby. So you want a good mixture of you don't want Jamar Chase, sponsoring a restaurant because he is a perfectly formed human being, right? He probably eats kale, right? You don't want Patrick Peterson doing that. You want me, right? Because I'm actually chunky. That's why you see a lot of these NIL barbecue deals go to uh, uh, offensive linemen, right? Like the big barbecue place in Fayetteville sponsors the entire Arkansas offensive line. I know, Carvis. BC Carvis. You actually work out, so I have a feeling that people that are ripped like Carvis shouldn't be calling people out for their dad bods. Not everyone can look like you, Carvis. I'll take 4 out of 6. I think 4 is going to be a good number. Augie Bottom is catering our New Orleans party. LJ wants to plan the New Orleans party for me because RD? Are you kidding me? Pulled pork better than brisket? Mo says I'm so chunky, my booger bands are snug. Mine too. You see, mines are snug. I love it. I freaking love it. But yeah, Foggy Bottom. Here's what I think. I think at this point, LSU is going to get 4 out of the 6, right? Let's be honest. We can hate all we want on Florida. They've done a really good job putting together a good staff, right? And it's not just me saying that. CFB Matrix is someone I respect a lot when it comes to assistant coach hirings. His name's Dave Bartu. And I have known Dave for a long time. He has Florida's assistant staff as the best of the new bunches. So I give Florida a lot of credit for getting some really talented people into their program. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Billy Napier, being with Saban and Dabo, he's got a lot of connections, right? He was going to get together a good staff. So don't be shocked if one of these Perkins, Citizen, or Matthew guys actually end up going to Florida. And it's not the end of the world because those guys are talented, right? I still think if LSU finds a way to get 4 of the 6 and 2 of those be, or at least one of those be Perkins or Matthews, it's a pretty good haul. Now, this is where it's going to get really nerdy. And we'll dive right into it. So Trevonte Citizen is a guy that's actually sliding up a bunch of draft boards. Okay. And what means is Trevonte Citizen, there's actually college fantasy drafts that are happening now. And Trevonte Citizen has moved up a lot of those boards, partially because of his body type. He's got a great build. Now he doesn't have like the biggest top end speed in the world, but he is just an amazing athlete. And I think Frank sees it as well. Frank is the best running back coach we've ever had at LSU. And I think Citizen is once again, LSU's fine at running back next year, but I do think he's a fine running back prospect. And I do have receipts when it comes to this. I've always had Citizen ahead of Le'Veon Moss. This isn't just because of where they went. Okay. You can go back and look at the live stream receipts or whatever. So yeah, I really do like Citizen a lot. Scott says, I don't trust a thin chef. Whatever they're cooking, I don't want anything they're making. Exactly. Cajun fried smoked ribs. I guess I got to try that when I come to Foggy Bottom. Danny says, Carter, if you were truly chunky, you would have offered shirts up to 5X from the jump because you would have understood for the big boys. So here's a funny thing, Danny. I wanted 3X, 4X shirts. They were just sold out everywhere, right, with my new distributor. So I've had to wait, and I even had to pay a real premium on 3X and 4X shirts. But that's fine, right? So yeah. Do we need another OL Deculus? That's a few more years of health. Oh man, that is crazy. Do we go for another offensive lineman in the portal like Chris? So Grayson, welcome to the channel, Grayson. I think this is your first time. Let me say this. I don't look at transfer portal players unless they really start getting some heavy LSU rumors, simply because there's just so many. And I don't want to spend time looking at film of someone that was going to Oregon the entire time. So I don't know who Chris, I don't know his last name here. I don't know anything about him. This is actually the first I've ever heard of him. And if Chris, you're watching, I wish you nothing but the best. And Grayson, welcome to the channel. Hey, Paris. Good to see you. Let's go to Jesse, who's also a new member of the Booger Band Club and the Sticker Club. Carter, who is your favorite transfer player so far? It's Bernard Converse. He fills, just a gigantic need for us. And it's kind of hard to argue that he's not in pretty much everyone's top three. I think Wes Weeks is a very interesting guy, but, on the offensive side is definitely Miles Frazier. There you go. Florida and Napier better focus on recruiting the state of Florida. UCF, Miami, and Florida State will eventually take a lot of the talent in Florida. Also, quick reminder, tomorrow the live stream will start at 8:45 because of the lateness of JACOBY MATHEWS' commitment. So we're going to start a little bit later because I don't want to start the live stream until everything is signed, sealed, and delivered. So 8:45 is when we will go live tomorrow. Because based on how everything is going, I could see a lot of things getting pushed back even further. Let's see. Jason, good to see you. I'm hearing 5 for 5. Well, there's 6 players LSU's going after tomorrow. Possible sponsorship. I hope so, Big Al. I hope so. I just need one of those Pat McAfee deals, and life is going to be good for the rest of eternity. Female! There you go. Good to see you, man. Still can't get over this. Pulled pork better than brisket. And there he is. Max holding it down in New York. BK doing the gritty is the greatest, cringiest thing I've ever seen. And I effing love it. He can finally be himself without having to stick up his you-know-what. You know what's interesting, Max? Is that it always seems like Notre Dame's coaches are speaking on behalf of somebody else, right? And I think a good example of it is, and this is the only place that I know that does this, okay? So at Notre Dame, it is not the head coach of Notre Dame. You are the Dick Corbett head coach of Notre Dame. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if Dick Corbett is a sponsor. I don't know if he is a donor. I don't know if he's a former Notre Dame coach, but schools are as money hungry as any enterprise that we have in society. All right. Someone else would have already done the donor head coach sponsorship thing, but nobody has it. I've never seen that other than Notre Dame. It is so weird. So, I think a lot of people that say, well, Carter, Brian Kelly is just putting on a show. He's trying to appease everybody. No, he's not. Maybe, just maybe, he's getting to, actually let loose, be himself. Now, what's interesting is I actually like Notre Dame's program. I listened to the Inside the Garage podcast on the Volume Network with the Notre Dame players, and it was really good, right? They're some of the smartest players in the country. They have great personalities, but it's just kind of weird, right? The Dick Corbett head coach. Up next, my PHL shirt. Sign me up. Where do I go? T-mail, Venmo, Cash App at Carter the Power. And shoot me an email, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. And I will hook you up, my friend. Skipper has got his shirt, and he sent me a very heartfelt email. Look at Skipper. He's got his shirt on right now. And he said his favorite player, he's got his hands on a Billy Cannon card. So I don't have many Billy Cannon cards, but Skipper said that's one of his favorite players, and I hooked him up along with a bunch of other cards. So there you go. I told a coworker yesterday that Burrow was the second coming of Jesus Christ, and he called HR for me using the Lord's name in vain. That's not true. I can see it, though. I can see it. Up next, my PL. Yeah, T-Mail, I want to hook you up with a shirt, man. Let's see. I'm not a basketball channel. I do watch them occasionally. And I do like LSU basketball. I got a bunch of LSU basketball cards as well. They lost their best transfer, and their other transfer has been hurt. So, the bottom line is, well, I think LSU is just regressing back to the mean. They are never supposed to be as good as they were to start the season. And if you can't necessarily see that watching them, they don't have enough scoring. But anyway, this is football. Tyler, it's a good double down on the joke. I swear to God, it's true. Let's just joke BK doesn't add a stripper pole. T-Pain had a stripper pole in the studio, and he's had a successful career. What's wrong with that? I'm kidding again. But Skipper, good to have you a part of the T-shirt club. Brett is also a member of the T-shirt club. Brett, we need you with the fish in your hand, the PHL shirt. Want a shirt? Shoot me an email. I'll hook you up. LSU is disappointing me. We need players who can shoot the threes. So, Mark, I'm going to give you a good little bit of information here. There's not many people that are that great at shooting. Basketball is really hard, right? You're shooting a ball 30 feet away from the goal in a circle that is only twice the circumference of said ball. It's a crazy sport, and you got to do it with all these great athletes on defense. So, yeah. Let's see. Grayson wants to talk some 2023 QBs. The Vizina kid out of Alabama. I watch a little bit of him. He looks like he can play. I would do anything for LSU to get the Nicholas Ivor, whatever his last name is. He's a beast. He's so good. He's my favorite quarterback in the 2023 cycle. He very well could go to Florida. I could see that. I could see that happening, right? They got Kamari Wilson. There's a lot of playing time available at Florida. I could see it happening. But this is also something very key to keep in mind. this may not be Harold Perkins' last stop wherever he goes tomorrow. Any one of these kids, this may not be their last stop. So they have all these relationships developed with these coaches. Well, this coaching staff's not going anywhere, right? Do you think those relationships just magically disappear? No. If they are disappointed where they are right now, guess what? They can always come back. That's the beauty of the transfer portal is, and that's part of the reason why I don't want LSU to sign all six. When you get a transfer, more than likely that's going to be their final stop when they come to you. Whereas, with any high school recruit that comes in, they could go wherever they want to go. Will Wade is garbage. Come on. Garbage. That would be Tom Crean. Brian Kelly trying to win a ship with a real team. Let's go. Dang, Danny. I'm all about unpopular opinions. I hope Stingley doesn't go until 25 or later. I know y'all will come at me, but okay. So I know some of you just aren't Derek Stingley fans, right? Because, you had the big year, and then these last 2 years, were kind of strange, right? He didn't play that much. He was very hurt. But cannot say this enough. Top 5 picks matter, right? Here's why. So, NFL draft. Millions of people are watching this draft, but it is long. It is tiresome. People get fatigued from the start of the draft to the end of the draft. And it frankly gets boring really quickly. But it's the only football that we have during the offseason. You have all these college fans, you have all these NFL fans, and everybody's watching it. Do you know how much it does for your brand to have that LSU logo, especially in our extremely distracted society, to go in the top 5 picks? And then to take it even one step further, it does wonders for LSU that you can still be a top 5 pick without playing essentially 2 seasons. Stingley played 6.5 games in 2020. He played 3 in this year. So 9.5 games of our last 23 or whatever. And you're still a top 5 pick? Don't you think some recruits would rationally say, yeah, Derek Stingley's great, but that LSU on the helmet definitely helps out, right? NFL evaluators will say, well, he's from Louisiana. He played for LSU. They produce the best defensive backs in the NFL. Of course, Derek Stingley is the number 1 corner. You want Derek Stingley to go in the top 5, whether or not you like him or dislike him. Is he a top 5 defensive back ever at LSU? No. Is he top 10? Maybe. And once again, there was still a lot left to be desired, but millions of people are watching the draft. People quickly tune out. It gets repetitive over time, but man, it is so key to get one of those top 5, top 10 picks, right? Well, yeah, Danny, you're the biggest football fan in here right now. But not many people do. They just don't. Fred, there you go. Kobe. No, I mean, Sting's not my favorite player, but I want what's best for him, and what's best for him at the same time is also what's best for LSU right now, right? It matters. When you put those sexy graphics up, and look, there's no one else right now that has some real first round vibes outside of Damon Clark at this point. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's go. Fulton's better than Sting. I could see that, but at the same time, Fulton's actually just really good. Eric Bieniemy, a possible head coach at New Orleans. I don't want to get into the NFL right now, but I would love an Eric Bieniemy right now. Now, you won't find a bigger Stingley jokester than Jonathan. And Jonathan's actually been this way for a long time. Good to see you, man. TDP 3rd or 4th round. It's going to be tough. It's kind of a weird running back class. I honestly don't personally know which running back I like the most. I really like Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame, though. I really do as a 3rd down back. Stingley quit on the team. I wouldn't say he quit. I do think he was hurt, but I don't know. It's just there weren't enough questions asked about what exactly happened to Derek Stingley. There just weren't. We still don't know what actually happened in practice for him to get hurt. So yeah, I don't know. Pels win. Fueled by haters. What kind of defense do you see House running based on the staff they have put together? Kind of too early to say. I think there'll be multiple. Three shirts for 20. No, 3 book bands for 20, but I would send 3 shirts to you, Robert. Let's see. This could happen. Running back evaluations are just so strange. But you could still make it, right? You could still very much make it. I also think, I know we view TDP as like a bulkier running back, but I do think he's actually going to test a lot better at his LSU Pro Day for a few reasons. We've seen just LSU athletes in general put up some pretty ridiculous numbers in their Pro Day, like just absolutely ridiculous. So I think that's a plus. And at the same time, I just think TDP is going to do a little bit better than we expect up to this point. Oh, LSU down 23. Boom! Foggy Bottom changed its photo. Foggy Bottom. I love it. Look at this brisket. Foggy Bottom, don't lie. This is not your brisket. This is brisket you pulled off the web. You went to Wright's Barbecue and pulled a photo. Wright's Barbecue in Fayetteville. They're so great. Crap, what's the name of the place in Austin? I didn't go to Franklin's. I went to crap. What's the name of the place? I forgot I hate it. Austin has great barbecue. God, that looks like some good brisket. That looks like some good brisket. Check the site, Foggy Bottom Barbecue. I love it. Where are you located? Loganville, Georgia, Lawrenceville, Georgia. Is that near you, Danny? What's up, Drexel? Welcome to the channel. Get your. I don't think it's Cooper's. I think it's something else. About 4 hours from you? I got to make a trip to Foggy Bottom. Foggy Bottom BBQ. I love it. I just think it's cool. Combine numbers are more accurate. I would agree with that. That's funny. We haven't switched up the poll question. 4 is actually winning. 4 out of 6. There we go. Let's see. Making you hungry. Rick, good to see you. There's a lot of BBQ in Austin. Oh, no, it's Teddy Black's. Teddy Black's. No sushi tonight? No sushi. Micah, you're crapping on sushi. Birchman was out on Caleb Williams. I don't know if that's it is good for LSU in that he's not I think it's good. I think it's good actually that Caleb Williams didn't go to LSU. Hey, I think we're underselling how great this guy is, right? He had some bad games, but he was a true freshman. So yeah. County Line BBQ in Austin. No, I didn't. I went. It was Terry Black's. That's where I went. They were really good. Let's see. Mick says I'll eat anything. Best player that LSU missed out on in this recruiting class. It's kind of hard to say, right? Uh, mm, hmm. I don't know. Some would say Evan Stewart. Some would say Walter Nolan. Uh, I think Shamar Stewart's a very interesting guy, but that was always an Orgeron guy. As far as in-state players are concerned, it's kind of hard to say as well. I really did like Kendrick Law a lot. There you go. Des believes me. One more at the North Louisiana. I think Williams would have been a distraction at LSU. How so? I'm curious. I really am curious. Let's see. Okay, I'll do this poll question for Danny. Yeah, I don't think Caleb Williams did anything at LSU that would have, and I don't think he did anything in Oklahoma that was a distraction. Uh, but I do understand that there would be a lot of you concerned about other quarterbacks transferring. But if you have a superstar quarterback, you don't worry about backups, right? I don't. I mean, you worry about having at least one backup, but you don't worry about so and so, leaving. I didn't put Kelly on the poll because everybody's going to pick Kelly. So, yeah, I didn't put Napier on there. I probably should have. I just picked 4 coaches. I agree. I agree with this with Rick. Well, actually, I don't agree with it in the SEC next year because I think the SEC is going to be really strong next year. But I don't think Natty, but we'd be really good. I also think. Okay, so I'll do one quick little basketball thing because I know a lot of you are freaking out about the Ole Miss thing. Um, I also tend to think we overvalue the regular season basketball, especially considering LSU had such a strong start to the season. They beat Kentucky at home, and Kentucky's looking really freaking good right now. They have some other great wins. Let me say this really quickly. It's going to honestly just come down to at where you're seated in the tournament anyway, right? And let's just say you lose a couple of games. If you make a run in the SEC tournament, you'll get in anyway. So LSU is comfortably in the tournament unless they just absolutely positively melt down. Will Howard be the long-term QB we need? Burrow was, of course, a godsend. Sure wish we could recruit elite quarterbacks consistently. So Foggy Bottom, of course, I want to have some of your brisket, but the irony of this is LSU actually has recruited really good quarterbacks, right? Brandon Harris was a top 100 guy. Anthony Jennings was a 4-star. Just a lot of these guys just didn't pan out for whatever reason, right? And then, of course, Joe Burrow obviously, was like you said, a godsend. But Miles Brennan was also a 4-star guy. So, yes, LSU has never landed the 5-star top 10 QB. Ryan Perley was our last 5-star QB. And because of Walker Howard Slide, he still is. Some of that's branding, but the quarterback position is just so weird. It's just so much variance, right? You see so many of the 3-stars turn out to be the absolute best quarterbacks ever. There's so much developing. It's so mental. Your brain doesn't stop forming until 25. And on top of that, you're taking coursework and all these different things. So yeah, it's freaking wild. Freaking wild. Fitzpatrick. And speaking of 3-star quarterbacks, where are the Ricky Collins fans like Fitzpatrick? Speaking of Russell Shepard, I actually put this card up. I can't get this bad boy out, even though I got it for a really good price. It's one of my favorite cards. Russell Shepard's one of my favorite LSU Tigers. And got his rookie auto right here. I was just enjoying it earlier. I really do appreciate Russell Shepard. And he's someone I want to get on the channel at some point. Once again, if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Ring the bell. Once again, we will be live tomorrow night at 8:45. Ooh, Kelly was at Woodlawn? Let's go. Jesse, remind me to email you my football card podcast, and I'll help you out with that. And once again, I say this. I know it looks cool, the Joe Burrow stuff in the background. Don't go to eBay and buy a very expensive Joe Burrow card right now. This is not the time to do it. This would be buying Bitcoin at 70,000 or whatever, right? Or buying at a peak. It's crazy. His cards are doing some really transcendent things right now, and some of it is just Joe. And I talked about this with Blake last night, and there's a clip he posted on Twitter. Joe Burrow has hit transcendency, not only as a player but culturally, right? When LeBron's tweeting about you, when Kid Cudi's hitting you up, when these people that have accomplished so much are admiring your work, your life changes. You hit a different stratosphere of celebrity, and you know that's that's a crazy thing, right? It transcends just us LSU fans and Cincinnati Bengals fans. It kind of becomes your own thing. Fred says a cap needs to be put in place for NIL. I know Lane brought this up. I just don't know how you police it. I just don't. Dylan, what's good? I coach at Woodlawn. Some of the things Ricky does at practice is insane. Well, there you go. If Fitzpatrick knows Ricky as well, I'll do this. I've never had a recruit on here. I would love Ricky Collins to come on the channel. So Fitzpatrick, I think you got my contact information. And Coach, if you want to hit me up on Twitter, if Ricky wants to come on, once again, he's more than welcome to come on. I'd love to introduce him. I do think he's a really good quarterback as well. Once again, obviously very limited sample, and as you know as well, Dylan, if you're not 4-star or 5-star already, this senior tape can do a lot for like your later offers. Robert wants to talk about the biggest player of need at this point. You can make a really strong case just by pure need. It's Danny Lewis, actually, because LSU is just so thin at tight end with Mashburn and Taylor as your only true tight ends, right? And you do have Mason Taylor coming in to be along with Cole Taylor, but if you're just purely looking at the definition of the word need, tight end is definitely one of them. I think a lot of people would say JACOBY, though, right? He's kind of the glue guy. He's always been the leader of this class of Louisiana bootleggers, right? So you get something a little bit more with JACOBY as well. So it's very interesting. Drexel says we just need great play calling. Yeah, it seems like Drexel is not a Jake Peach fan club member. Yeah, Grayson, you can't do that though, right? Because once again, it is not the schools that are paying the players. These are their own brokered deals. So there's no advertising cap in the NFL either. This is true, Coach Schmidt. Joe is a great leader. Tari Eason is a stud. George, good to see you. I'm getting you and Grayson mixed up here. Good to see you. You want to do it, Fitzpatrick? Well, I'd love to have him on. And if you want a shirt, if you have a guest idea, you can always shoot me an email, powerhourlsu@gmail.com. And this is also my Twitter. And there you go. So if you want to do it, once again, I always want to do what's best for the kids. So there you go. There we go. And that's my new LSU sports cards thing. If you want to see the Joe Burrow card, I had to let go today. I've been emotional about it all day. It's my favorite Burrow. I had to say bye to him today. Don't get to watch you live much, but if you want to get offered a donation, time to get that crypto going. Charlie, you and I have developed a pretty good friendship. Yeah, I do need to get crypto going. I just got a MetaMask wallet. So if you guys have some Ethereum, my we need players giving 100% effort and playing as a unit. This is also true as well. Foggy Bottom, thank you for your generous donation. Yeah, I go back to this, right? I was just really, really impressed. I'm not a huge Kirby Smart guy when it comes to in-game coaching. He makes a lot of errors. But that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme when you have such better players than everyone. But Kirby's players are just very mature. He does good recruiting. And of course, you have, some guys that, do their own thing. That happens when you bring in a bunch of 5 stars. Eric Gilbert. But, I go back to Nakobe Dean and Lewis Sign, who was the MVP of the game, the defensive MVP of the national championship game. And Nakobe Dean won the Butkus. And you go back and listen to those kids' interviews during their Under Armour All-American game. They were talking about, we want to be the guys that win us the national championship. And, there's just not many of those guys. And everybody every kid that goes to a school wants to win. But you really have to buy in. You really have to hope that the recruits you get are like that. And really the only people that can, determine that are the kids themselves. Do you have the drive? Are you recruiting a bunch of Glenn Dorsey and LaRon Landry and Jacob Hester kind of guys on your team? That's once again, those are things we can't answer. So, Kirby did a really good job getting some the Nolan Smiths. Also, one thing Kirby did a really good job of in this last class, Georgia had a crap ton of 3 stars play big for them. Chris Smith, A.D. Mitchell, who caught the game-winning pass, Jordan Davis, Stetson Bennett, obviously. That team was just a really, really special team. And you could tell that they had buy-in. It wasn't just their 5 stars. It was their 3 stars. That was just a really, really good job, Kirby, building that culture. You hear that word all the time, but Georgia really, really had it this year. Genesis is here. And Genesis, this is an inside joke from the end of the last live stream where Genesis, the lovely Genesis, was going after Ahmad because she said Ahmad looked like he got off a shift at Popeyes. It's still the hardest I've ever laughed on this channel. Let's go, King Robert. Our problem was we never got that QB that could start on fire out of his freshman year and maintain him for 4 years. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And some of it, Robert, is, we just never really, you go back to the Ryan Perrilloux thing, you can never undersell that, right? He was supposed to be that guy that got more of those types of quarterbacks, the elite, transcendent, no doubt superstar quarterback. I mean, Ryan Perrilloux still made it to the NFL. That's how talented that dude was. And, if he would have gone to Texas, I'm pretty sure he would have been a top 10 pick. If he could have got away some of the people he needed to get away from in Louisiana, he would have been one of the best college quarterbacks ever. He was truly special. And still to this day, he's the best Louisiana high school quarterback ever. Statistically, his senior stats, we've done a breakdown on this. They're so much better than any other LSU quarterback that's ever come to LSU. And that includes Joe Burrow, who had some absolutely ridiculous senior high school stats. So, man, that was one of them. But hopefully Walker Howard can be that guy in year two. We'll see how his injury recovery goes into next season. Thanks again, King Robert, for your generosity. I really appreciate it. Skipper remembers Genesis. Genesis was the star of the last live stream. Good to have you back. I don't think Ahmad was in here earlier asking where you were, Genesis. Question: if a high school recruit signs with LSU tomorrow, can they technically enter the portal anytime after fall ball begins? They can. They absolutely can. Once again, when you sign with the school has all the power of your signature. But at the same time, you can enter the transfer portal whenever the heck you want. But Robert, this was a really good point, right? But, let's to go even deeper on this, and quarterback success is just so random, right? So every year you're going to have, a 5-star actually turn out to be that guy. And we've seen the absolute top 5-star be, the best quarterback, right? Caleb Williams this year, Bryce Young the year before. So Caleb Williams was 2021, Bryce Young was 2020, 2019 was who's the number one overall quarterback? I don't remember. Then 2018 was Trevor Lawrence, and obviously was so it's it's crazy, right? All of this is just so wild. You just outside of that, there's just so much variance at quarterback, right? I'm still shocked. I didn't know this about Aaron Rodgers. I didn't know Aaron Rodgers played community college ball or JUCO ball, was a freshman. He beat out a senior 3-year starter and then eventually went to Cal. I didn't know that about him. I feel as if, Robert, a big part of a quarterback's journey is you have to have some type of adversity. You have to transfer or something because, that just makes you work that much harder. It's finally, a time in your life when someone says you're not good enough, and it mentally just takes you to that next step. Yeah, Scooby. Well, that just happens. Let's see here. You know what song? You know what? Since the last live chat, I'm not even going to say the rapper's name again because his defenders are just the most ardent defenders of all time, right? You know what song was caught in my head the last time? I want to be a baller, shot caller. Why is that song? If you grew up in the South and you're in your 30s or below, that song at some point was caught in your head for a week. Be a better way, better way. Yeah. I want to be a. This is a really good point by Fred if you want to get really philosophical. Baseballs are really that's why SEC baseball is so great, right? We don't have a lot of major league teams, but there are a lot of big baseball fans in the South and in these SEC cities, and they all want to be great at baseball. And because of the scholarship limits, all the best players can't go to the same school, so they get spread out amongst the South, and that's what makes the SEC baseball great. But at the same time, it is very unfair to the players, right? The 11.7 scholarship thing, I've been saying this for well over a decade. It is the biggest sham in college sports. Out of all the shams that sham in college sports, this is the absolute worst when it comes to scholarships. It is so bad. Okay, Ahmad saw Genesis back in the chat. What are the odds of keeping Nuss and Howard both for the next 2 to 3 years? Tyler, it's a good question, and I'll pose this question to you. What are the odds that Besh, BTJ, Neighbors, Dion, and Hilton are also all here in the next 2 to 3 years? It's a non-zero chance, but it's also a low chance, right? That's the thing. If you're LSU, you get to pick who gets to play and who doesn't. And the ones that don't will move on and go somewhere else. Kind of like Devonta Lee, right? He'll probably do great things at Louisiana Tech. I see him catching 25 passes for 3 or 4 touchdowns and having a really good season. So we'll see. Braden Fiocco is still the funniest LSU player. I freaking love him. This is his latest tweet is a thing of beauty. He is legit really freaking funny. He had another funny interaction. This is just so good. I said it once, I'll say it again. Paying a full house payment for a month that doesn't even get 31 days is highway. That's just so clever, and it's true. Oh, man, that's so great. BH Clinton, I think Jacoby Matthews will. I think Trevonte Citizen will. I do think Danny Lewis will. Harold Perkins, I'll say the same thing I said last night. Perkins will not go to LSU. My LSU heart, the LSU momentum right now says he's going to LSU. My gut says he is going elsewhere, right? It could just be that it is rare that my favorite recruit actually ends up going to LSU. We'll see. we'll see what happens. So like JoJo Earl is my favorite recruit in 2022, period. He ended up winning that. He went to Alabama, right? It's rare that those two things actually coincide. And we'll see. We'll see. Oh, man. Yeah, Foggy, then Tyron Matthew agrees with you, man. Juice HD, welcome to the channel. Iconic photo right here. Hey, Ahmad, I made an online order for a spicy chicken sandwich. Are you in the kitchen flipping that wrist? Ahmad said, y'all get ready for my gritty this fall. I'll be the starting QB at LSU as I walk on. Not according to Genesis. Genesis needs a 2-piece spicy right now. And a sandwich. And a biscuit. And give her a courtesy water cup to wash that biscuit down. Kyle, just can we let me say something? All right. I'm one of the few people that keep up with recruiting that has Harold Perkins as the best player in the class of 2022. Okay. But two things can be true at once. Okay. Number one, if he commits, obviously we're all going to be thrilled. But it's also not the end of the world if player X doesn't commit to LSU, right? Particularly a defensive player. It's not the end of the world, okay? And these are recruits. This is the last 24 hours where all the attention's going to be on them. So let them play their games where they post photos of them in the jerseys of all the different schools. Let them enjoy it. Just don't freak out. We are less than 24 hours away, but when they actually sign pen to paper, what actually matters. So don't freak out if someone posts a photo of them wherever. Official Friday, I hope you're right. I think of the 2-3 stars that they're getting out of him and Caleb Douglas, I would like him just simply because of the position. But I hope you're right. See, Genesis? Mod's got that whip. What's up, Carter, and my Power Hour family? Let's go. I love it. Kyle, calm down. I don't care what photo he's posting. We're about to actually get the signature. Doesn't matter until the signature. There's got to be a better way. Yeah. I want to be a baller. Danny, makes you feel old and fat that Brady is only 3 years younger than me. Oh, man. Timothy! I haven't seen you in a minute. I love the Shaq throwback, baby. Here's a good question from Fred. Carter, you like Mike Leach? Yeah, he's a funny guy. I think he's a little zany. You know, it's funny. I still have Mike Leach's phone number in my phone right now. When I was at LSU, he would jump on my radio show from time to time. How long do you think he will last at MSU? I don't know. Seems pretty comfortable. I think Mississippi State understands their spot in the SEC West. So, yeah, I mean, they were a solid team this year. They're a pretty young team last year. I saw they were returning 17 starters and Will Rogers. So, yeah, the receivers are really good last year. Obviously, you know, they lost Aaron Brule in the portal to Michigan State. They're not buttoned up at times. Obviously, you know, the bowl game fiasco. But, yeah, I mean, they're going to be solid. Once again, the West is going to be really hard for LSU. It's going to be hard for anybody next year. You know, Bama's going to be better than what they were this year. Arkansas is returning a good quarterback. Lane's Lane. He's going to have a great offense. Mississippi State returns a lot of talent. Obviously Auburn is trending in the wrong direction, and A&M is trending in a better direction. So we'll see. Dev, I'm not going to lie. Your comments always make me feel so freaking good. You really do believe in this channel, Dev, and I really do appreciate it. Burrow better than Mahomes. I agree. A lot of that is my bias, though, right? So it is interesting watching that game. I don't think, and it's amazing what one Super Bowl does to your narrative, right? So Drew Brees won a Super Bowl, but at the same time, towards the end of his career, he had a bunch of very costly playoff performances, right? Aaron Rodgers, right? He's got that one Super Bowl he's able to fall back on. And the same thing's true with Patrick Mahomes, who just played the worst, and I really do mean this. His second half versus the Bengals was the worst quarterback meltdown I've ever seen. Going from scoring 3 touchdowns in your first 3 possessions and 1 yard away from scoring 4 touchdowns on your first 4 possessions. And, they showed it. Like, if you look at the advanced analytics like EPA per play, CPOE, he had the worst turnaround and meltdown I've ever seen. And he missed open throws. In fact, he missed Travis Kelce, Byron Pringle, and Jerick McKinnon. All 3 of them were open on the game-winning touchdown, and he just didn't pull the trigger. And they were open, and he just missed it. And he choked. That was one of the all-time quarterback choke jobs, and he cost him the game. The interception, he was just so bad. And I do think this is true. I just think a lot of quarterbacks struggle going up against Joe Burrow, right? He is an intimidating guy. When you have a quarterback on that other sideline that the entire team believes in, it makes that team scrappier. That quarterback is going to be really clutch in the fourth quarter. And it can cause some quarterbacks to melt down. We saw with Tannehill. Trevor Lawrence was god awful in the national championship game. Jalen Hurts was awful in the playoff. Some of that's just luck that you play teams whose quarterbacks have bad games, but some of it is just Joe's on the other sideline, and give the Bengals defense a lot of credit. Robbie, hope for a good day tomorrow. Maybe Perkins could play running back. Kid is electric. Good show. Roby's a Perkins believer. I like that. I like it. I'll post it just for you, Genesis. So this is the comments. These are the times for tomorrow, and this Harold Perkins time got moved to 3:30 tomorrow. But every other time here is accurate for tomorrow as well. So this is your schedule. Once again, Harold Perkins moving to 3:30 Central or 3, I don't remember. Danny Lewis, 9:30 a.m. CT. Trevonte Citizen, 11 a.m. CT. Caleb Douglas, 1:20 p.m. CT. And a nightcap for our good friend JACOBY MATHEWS. I love it. I do agree with this. This is undoubtedly true. Andy Reid, top 10 NFL coach of the modern era. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I actually really agree with this. I do. Now, Mahomes is still very special, but I give Andy Reid a lot of credit. I really do. Want NBA young boy on the stream? I'd love to have him. If you have a contact, let me know. All right, we'll see you tomorrow night. Once again, live stream tomorrow at 8:45 p.m. Central. I don't see any harm in it either, Pegasus. And we got Burma has short memory, makes him better. Mahomes was done after not scoring before the half and then the picks. I agree. And then I also think the Chiefs should have just run the football more. They had some effectiveness running the ball. And I just don't think Bieniemy and Andy called a good half. But we'll see. Once again, they were flawless for the entire postseason, and outside of the first drive versus the Steelers, and then just to crap the bed the way that they did is really a historic, unprecedented meltdown. And also, let's be honest, this could be Joe's year, right? The AFC is really loaded. He had a favorable run of quarterbacks he faced up to this point. I think Joe's career, he's going to have at least 2 Super Bowls. But man, it's going to be tougher. Playoff run's going to get tougher from this point. So this could be the Bengals' window this year. So we'll see. Oh, Fred got a text? No, I still think Mahomes is really special, right? Taking my Joe Burrow bias out of it, I'm still taking Mahomes over Allen. I'm still taking Mahomes over Herbert. It does. It does. I see a lot of qualities very similar to Burrow and Brady. Some guys just don't lose games, and that goes a long way for you to actually winning games. But also, Brady had so much playoff luck. Brady had the most playoff luck. I just don't think that luck is ever going to be replicated. I really don't. Tuck rule versus Oakland, the Frank Clark offsides, Malcolm Butler picking off the ball at the goal line. I mean, the list goes on, right? But at the same time, it's ironic. Brady's best Super Bowl performance versus the Eagles was a game that he lost, right? So, that's why I don't like judging quarterbacks just based on Super Bowls, right? Because, then it gets into weirdness. Is Ben Roethlisberger a better all-time quarterback than Drew Brees? No. And he's not better than Aaron Rodgers. But if you go by Super Bowls, he is. Maybe, Jonathan. I can see your skepticism. I can. Well, all right, guys. Let's see here. We are at basically the 2-hour mark. We'll keep this live stream going all night, if need be. if we keep the super chats rolling. If not, we'll see you tomorrow night at 8:45 Central. No, I'm going to block both of you if we get into another NBA young boy. Which one, Tyler? I'm curious. I think I saw a blip about this a little bit earlier. All right, Mick. We'll see you tomorrow night. Ryan. Ryan didn't get one shirt. He got two. And I sent him a bunch of cards for his lovely kiddos. Good to see you, Ryan. Derek, that's a good question. It's so early in his recruitment, but being a Catholic high kid, you have to feel pretty good about the chances of landing him. Ryan, why am I second fiddle to the basketball game? Why? Tell me. There you go, Michael. For views. I love it. You can go ahead and turn it off. You were here all night. That's fine. I give it a Carrie Ananabe 10 out of 10. Tyler, I don't know a whole lot about him. I don't mind getting another defensive back. I really don't. I'm a sucker for real. I don't have a problem. I just don't want to get into another young boy debate. I want to get in a debate about something football related. I just the thing is, I just don't know enough about NBA young boy to really say anything. Johnny and Gail, good to see you. Oh, heck yeah, I'm going to check this out. Especially me being a former Sirius XMer. Definitely check it out. Yeah, Fred, I think that's not going to happen. I know there was a lot of people wanting Brian Kelly to go after those two players. Ajay Allen out of Neville and Xavier Thomas, the wide receiver. Allen's a running back. Yeah, this could be one of those things where if they play at LSU, it would be down the road, right? I don't know what those two are going to do, but we shall see. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8:45. Central should be a fun one. So, we'll see you then. It is Power Hour LSU Bum. Greg, you joined in too late. We've had a bunch of Alabama Tigers in here tonight, and I'm about to go crush some carne asada. Well, I had some carne asada already. I'm about to go crush some Oreos. Let's go. Let's go, LSU basketball. Let's go.